Call this meeting to order pursuant to Governor Baker's order superseding certain provisions of the open meeting law. This meeting is occurring remotely and as such is being recorded for transmission on both the Berlin Cable Television Access Channel and YouTube. Your voice, image, and or telephone number may be recorded. Okay. First order of business, which we're going to essentially pass over, is we don't have the minutes for our previous meeting in hand at the moment, as Jess had some technical difficulties on that regard, but as the meeting itself was recorded, those through either that or rectification of those technical difficulties may manifest at a later date. And so we'll pass over that and move on to the treasurer's report if you're ready for that.
If I'd stop fiddling with this, I would be. So I sent a copy to everybody, and we did just get the justification forms for July 1st to October 31st. So they must have officially closed the books. So everything is updated to October 31st now, where we have our grant money of $1,500 from the town, the grant money at the MCC grant money at the time at the end of October was at $3,527.56. We have accumulated interest on hold of $193.91, and we have money put aside, administrative funds of $158.65. So at the end of October, the total amount in our accounts was $4,675 available. So we paid out during that time Ed the Wizard and Meredith Charles, and so that brought the total down to $39.25. Then we are holding money for John Root, Roger Bruno, who is that Two Human program, Nora Dooley, Leslie Havens, two library programs, which is Playful Engineers and Diane Edgecombe, and Neshoba Friends of Music, which then takes that $3,925 down to zero, still accounting for the interest that we're holding in the unused administrative funds. And then, so we still have our $1,500 Berlin money. The MCC gave us $4,900 this year, which is $100 higher than what we've had, which gives us a total of $6,400 to grant. That is not, I mean, that's what we have to apply to grants, but we have more money. As soon as that 4,900 goes in, we still have a bunch more money that we're holding in the account. Did that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Deborah, can you tell me again how much we got in grant money for this coming year?
4,900 from MCC.
Yep.
And 1,500 from
town.
the town. Yes.
Okay.
So all those in that thing that I sent to everybody via email, and I know you don't have your computer, the only correction that needs to be made is at the very bottom, where we were anticipating a level funding, which was 4,800, but we actually got 4,900. So that would just have to be corrected on the actual sheet that I wrote.
Okay.
And then the anticipated amount changed from 6,300 to 6,400.
Okay.
And we haven't heard anything from the Neshoba one, at least I haven't.
Right, I was gonna ask tonight if you wanted me to shoot them an email and ask if their program ran.
Yeah.
It could have, because it was going to be a concert at the mall. So I don't know how that worked, if they were able to do it socially distanced or what they did. So
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind doing that, that might be good. And I did speak to Sarah Foster earlier in the week. She had reached out whether we were waiting for anything on her. And based on how she worded things, I'm not sure whether she had sent something in and it didn't get through or what, because it sounded almost like she was going to send something again. But in any event, I'm in touch with her, so we should hopefully be getting what we need for uh, being able to pay out those library programs.
Yeah, because she has the Playful Engineers and Diane Edgecombe, those should both have happened,
Yeah,
I believe. And then and then the Nora Dooley one, that one, all three of those programs, I think, should have happened.
yeah,
And then John Root did contact Carl Wickstrom of the Agricultural Commission about doing his program remotely, and Carl was concerned about that. So we should talk about that either later, as if we're going to address any of this after we go through the applications. He wanted some thoughts on it.
okay,
So when the time is appropriate, let's discuss that.
okay. Well, we'll start by I move we approve the treasurer's report.
I'll make the motion.
Nope.
Oh, sorry, Sandra.
Nope, that's okay. I can second that.
Okay.
Okay. So, Deborah, yay or nay on approving?
Okay.
And Jess, yay or nay?
Yes.
Sandra?
Yay.
And I vote yay. So we have approved the treasurer's report. And I think given that we are in old business, that maybe it makes sense if we just discuss that issue on the John Root one now.
Okay, so he had asked Carl about doing his program, which was, he was attracting beneficial insects to the garden. And he wanted to do it, a Zoom thing or an online thing or whatever. And Carl was really wondering if that was something that would even draw an audience, if it was presented. He wasn't sure that the audience would be open to a Zoom presentation about that, I guess is what he was saying. And I know that's a judgment issue on our part. I know a lot of artists are doing things remotely and probably should.
Well, I'm not sure with something such as like the library programs when they're running remote. I don't know, what sort of draw they're getting for that. So, I mean, my sense would be, I mean, since we have the money, if they wanted to pursue it in that fashion, I'm I'm not particularly concerned with, okay, you got fewer people than this amount wasted our, I think it, I would be okay with leaving it up to the Agricultural Commission to determine whether they thought, if they consider worthwhile, I'm okay with that. If they are looking for cover for not considering it worthwhile, I'm okay with, providing that as well,
Yeah, and I would think it's a program that would have to run in the spring because,
Yeah.
Otherwise you're not going to, it's a program you're not going to run in the fall or the winter. Well, maybe, again, next winter, but that's kind of pushing things way off. So,
but I would think running it in the spring too, that by then even, a lecture should be able to happen in a socially distant fashion. I mean, if it occurred, at I forget where it was supposed to occur originally, but like at the community gardens, if people are, you know, outside and their chairs are sufficiently separate. I should imagine that by, maybe not the beginning of spring, but, June or something,
Mhm.
that I have to imagine would be within what guidelines are allowed and what the condition of the virus versus the vaccination schedule has been. So,
So my comment is just experience with Zoom meetings, and I've attended things from different Audubon sanctuaries and that, and we've actually gotten huge numbers from people who would never have attended if it was a physical program because they wouldn't have traveled the distance. And when you are online like that, depending upon his advertising and who he puts it out there for, he could end up with a pretty large, diverse audience. And I don't know, he's not terribly riveting as a speaker, but maybe an online program might be a little more his speed because he did have a lot of slides and things to look at.
yeah, that's a good point, Sandra, that, and particularly, it may not draw as many of the people in Berlin, but, we're not looking to only support, we're not checking someone's address before they show up at a program. So if it, drew other people, that, I'm good with that. And I can, there definitely have been things that having them on Zoom has made easier to attend. I know earlier in the, or I should say earlier in the year, last year, that I don't think I would have made it out of the house early enough to attend George Pendergast's funeral at him. And if I
Yeah.
was actually trying to get to St. Joe's, I'm not a morning person, but it's a little easier when I didn't have to be out and presentable.
Deborah, is the Ag Commission doing other things remotely right now?
Yeah, well, we do our meeting on Zoom.
How's that going? Is it difficult for the members or
Um,
are people
No,
okay?
everybody's okay. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was just a matter, I guess,
So it's just a concern about whether anyone else would come?
well, a lot of time, and maybe this is maybe this should be the converse at this point, because other things that they've done, they've gotten a small amount of people.
Okay.
But maybe this is a way to say, okay, let's try this and see if it does attract more people um, to the program. Maybe because before it was at night and people didn't want to go out at night, but if you're sitting in your living room and you can watch it or enjoy it at night, I don't know, it's worth a try. He wanted
Yeah.
our thoughts on it. And he had mentioned it at the last meeting. So we meet again on Tuesday and I'll share, what people have said. And then he will say yes or no to John, I guess.
Okay.
I think it's worth trying. I mean, it's not like there's anything to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it may be unexpectedly successful.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
What
Sounds
what one other thing I want to bring up before we get to the applications is in terms of old business is Deborah got emailed again by Greg Myachek, who was supposed to do the painting like Georgia O'Keeffe, which the last time I guess we had heard from him was in September, where he again trying to find a way to make things work. But as just a reminder to everyone, that program had been one we were going to be paying with Town of Berlin funds, which at the end of that fiscal year, June 30th, reverted to the town. So it had been kind of certainly my assessment that there was no real possibility of an extension for it because the source of funding ceased to exist. And so at the time I reached out by email, and I get he uses two different emails, and I reached out to the one that had sent the last thing to us, and I said, you know, you need to talk to Bob at the library anyways for hosting it. I guess he had some trouble getting a hold of him or something, but I had indicated in my email that I thought he was much better advised to reapply for this year, since he wasn't going to be able to do it before this cycle anyway. But he did not apply, and after not hearing from, whether he received and read my email or not, he had not been in contact for 4 months, and reached out to Deborah asking about funding from this year. So I aim to talk to Bob in the next few days. I've got things to pick up at the library, so I'll be calling in anyways. But I don't know whether he ever made contact with Bob, and whether Bob had any thoughts on having him or not. But it is possible that we could somehow jury rig some money somewhere, but my feeling is that that the grant was unable to run. He did not apply for one this year, and unfortunately I don't think there's really anything reasonable we can do for him. That it's unfortunate that he's been unable to do this, but and I'm imagine that may leave him feeling a little upset about matters. But as I was telling Deborah, I think the town of Berlin will persevere if we are unable to learn how to paint like George O'Keeffe. But that means I want to bring it up in the meeting before sending any emails, basically telling him
Yeah.
can't
Since he didn't apply for this year, I mean, we can't, even if we had the ability to find money in the
Yeah.
fund this year, we don't have an application for this year, so we
Yeah.
can't.
And the email that MJ sent to him was absolutely clear and said to him, please consider, we both told him to reach out to Bob. I then referred him to the Cultural Council mail so that it would come through the correct channel. MJ wrote, and he asked MJ to respond at the email address that MJ responded at. We
Okay.
followed all the directions, and he truly should, he was supposed to reach out to Bob. That was the number one step, and we never heard anything about that. And then he surely should have known what the grant cycle was. He must be applying to other places. So why, what I don't understand at this point is, why did he not contact us during the grant cycle and wait until, when did I contact you, MJ? On Tuesday? I think I got the email Tuesday or Wednesday.
Well, the point is that literally, I think a full 4 months had passed since when I had sent that email and he reached back out. So, I kind of feel that even if hypothetically the MCC would approve us granting an extension this late and paid money for like that it just, even if there were a random path that could be somehow made to work, that it wouldn't be worth making it work, because I think we've given him all the opportunities that were deserved at this point. But
the MCC is not involved in his grant at
Yeah.
all, because he is not in the record at all, as he was denied in the record. So
yeah, I don't think there really is
Doesn't
a
sound like there's
path,
anything.
but for everyone to be feeling more sorry for him,
yeah, we
one
just,
could ask questions about one, but I don't think at this point there is any reason to.
Yeah, but we do need to respond to him, and once you talk to Bob, then I think we need to craft a proper reply.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So if everyone is on board with that line of thinking, I think we are ready to move on to the grants themselves.
Okay.
And I do want to note that, so we have $6,400 to give out, and if my math is correct, we've been asked to give out $6,935. So it's a very close amount. I think it is worth noting to keep in mind, if we were to reject any of them for whatever reason, that we would be in a situation of, potentially having more money than we want to give out. I mean, there may be reasons why we choose to reject them,
I
but
had some questions about some of these.
yeah,
Me too.
as did I. But I think it's important we keep in mind, the amount, and
Yeah.
so that if we do end up rejecting any, that I think
Good reason.
yeah, I think our options at that point would either be to, if we end up with more money, give back to the town, so, simply not spend all of the town money, or in theory, we could grant additional money than has been asked. If a particular program said their expenses were $1,500 and they were asking for $500, we
Yeah.
could grant them more money if we have more money to grant.
I think that might appeal to me with a few of these.
Yeah. So, so let's start with the first one, the Assabet Valley Music Concert Series. Got the title right. I didn't write them down word for word. Anyone have anything they want to say on that?
Yeah, they're doing, if I read it correctly, and I'm sorry, I can't get the panel book to load on my iPad. I couldn't tell if they were saying that it said virtual next to Berlin, but it had all the other towns listed. So did anyone pick up on this? That was their intention, just to make it available virtually to Berlin, but other towns, it did make sense to me the way it was written. That the other
I took
towns,
it, my question that I wrote was, how are seniors supposed to access the tickets for the virtual concerts?
we've had,
That's a perpetual question that we always have with the Aspet Valley.
yeah, because
I thought that the concerts were pretty much virtual for everyone.
Yeah,
'Cause I
I
don't think they're allowed to. There's a lot of restrictions around singing.
yeah, I think in terms of what you were picking up on, Deborah, I think that may simply have just been an odd editing choice, as opposed to I mean, that was kind of my sense on it. It seemed like it is running virtually, but I think they maybe were leaving room for the idea that something changed. It might not be. I know in previous years the tickets have been an issue, and they continue to mention senior centers, which Berlin doesn't have. So I believe in this past year, I did see that some tickets did make it to 19 Carter. So
yeah, because I bring them over there. They give
so
two,
we did get, so
yeah,
it was just those two. Yeah. So
but
They only give us 2 tickets.
yes, for each concert, 2 tickets
Okay.
arrive in our mailbox, in the Cultural Council mailbox.
Yep.
And I always take them over to 19 Carter now for anybody who would like them.
Okay.
But then how does this work virtually? If you look further through, are they still charging people an admission to virtually
It
see
looked like it.
Yeah, there's an admission. You can attend a concert virtually, but it is charged.
You have to still buy a ticket to go, though.
And they weren't cheap.
No.
No. So they're asking $500 donate, like the donation, but then how is that going to work for 2 tickets? Those
They're very,
price of tickets.
But how I was reading it was that the streaming would be free. So maybe there's,
that's not how I read it.
well, what is the, looking at the panel book, it said what is the cost of participation for attendees, if any? It says $25 adult, $20 senior students, free tickets via senior center, free streaming when applicable. So I guess there's some question about,
What does where applicable mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I was wondering when it said virtual by Berlin, if that's what that meant.
That's a good question. So I guess my thought is, since we have the money, I'm fine giving it to them this year, but I still get annoyed that I think it's not really that accessible to people in our town
yeah.
in general.
And if we were being asked for a little more money out of people, this was one that I mean, I appreciate the fact that they are talking virtual, but virtual is not always terribly convenient to seniors.
Right.
Anyways, that's hit or miss. So they and we don't have a senior center, and I realize they're applying to multiple towns, but I really wish they would get a little more involved in,
Understanding their audience.
yes.
Getting the tickets to their audience. But
Yeah,
so
Well, also to say free tickets is misleading if there's only 2.
right.
well, and the other thing involves a phone call, and I don't, Sandra, you might remember this, because years ago I did call the person and say, where are you delivering these free tickets to the seniors? And she said to me that they're brought to the town by people who are in the organization, the singers. And I'm like, well, who are they and where are they?
Yeah.
They really followed through on that. So I know, now we do have 19 Carter. That would be a great place for them to drop the tickets. So I know tonight we're just deciding if we're going to fund the grant. So maybe it is worth a little bit more pressure to say, we need to see more than the 2 tickets that you send to the cultural council.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we are allowed to approve with conditions. So we could, in terms of the approval, write something in it that requires that those tickets go to, we could say, whatever amount of tickets that Berlin is supposed to get allotted need to make it to 19 Carter in lieu of having a senior center, and that, that payment is, payment of the grant is contingent upon that fact. So
Yeah,
I think,
it's fair to say that.
Yeah.
so do we want to approve them with that sort of qualification to it?
Yeah.
I'd be
Okay.
fine with that.
So I move that we accept the grant with the contingency that we make contact with them about making sure that tickets get delivered to 19 Carter for our senior population.
Okay. I will second that.
Sure.
Okay. So Deborah, you vote yes on your motion.
I vote.
Yes or no?
Yep.
Sandra, yea or nay? And I will support the motion as well. So we have approved it contingent upon that. Okay, so the next grant is celebrating the season. The Davis Bates that was Halloween harvest season.
Did have to laugh, these doing Halloween in February. But
Yeah,
he's got a library sponsor, so I'm okay with him.
yeah. I thought the timing versus what it was entailing was a little odd, but everything else seemed to be in order.
Yep.
We got a motion?
I moved that we approve this grant.
Second?
Okay.
Mhm.
So Deborah, yay or nay?
Okay.
Yes, yay or nay?
Yay.
Sandra, yay or nay?
Yay.
And I will vote yay. Okay. Next up, chainsaws.
I have problems with this one.
As do I.
He has no local sponsor.
Exactly.
Really.
Yeah, it's not up to us to find him a place.
Yeah.
He's hitting up a ton of councils. It was like a generic
Yeah.
application just to see if somebody would pay him money.
Yeah.
There's,
Great name though.
Well, I mean, it all sounds interesting if the school is actually interested in it, but there's no indication that the school is interested in it.
No,
right,
but
there's nothing from the PTO, there's nothing from Link, there's nothing from anything.
and he suggested that it was appropriate for middle school, but again, we saw nothing through the
Right.
school.
So it's a misstep on his part. If he wants to put on a program, he needs to have a venue and an audience.
I would be willing to say we'd be willing to give him money if he finds a local venue and, and sponsor.
Yeah.
But, I'm not willing to just give him money
Yeah.
to go put on a show in Quincy or something,
Yeah, he's it's online though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Online with live narration. So
That's right.
um,
Well,
so
he would still need, I think, the sponsor, especially since he's talking about the idea of students watching it. I think the implication is they're going to be watching it during the school days. So that would require the school actually wanting this. And
Yeah.
if they do want it and he simply failed to have the proper documentation, or if he can convince them that I mean, I
Convince them that they want it.
I think we could approve it contingent on having that sort of local, if he came back with, something from someone at one of the schools that said, yes, we would like to have this happen, and we will make the arrangements to have our
Exactly.
students watching it. That I think we could do it like that we could approve it contingent on that, and then he can either come back with school people the thumbs up or not.
would it be prudent to send him an email and just say that in order for us to look at your grant,
Oh, yeah.
have a local sponsor, you didn't follow that rule. So if you can tell us that you have engaged someone in our town to support you, then we will take a look at your grant.
That makes sense to me.
Okay. I'm good with that. We still got over a month before the rejection letters need to be out, so I think we are in shape to be able to hold off on that. So then I move we pass over this grant until such time as we can contact him and in theory hear back, and he'll visit at our next meeting.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. So Deborah, in favor of passing over, yay or nay? Yes, in favor of passing it.
Pass over.
Sandra,
Yes.
and I vote in favor of passing over. And now we have the Dueling Pianists.
And he has no local sponsor.
His was just wanting it put on the cable access channel, it looked like.
Yeah,
With-
But I didn't see that he actually reached out to the cable
Yeah.
access people.
so we have to do probably the same thing. We need to pass over this one and send this person an email as well that he needs to reach out. I mean, does everybody, I don't get the Berlin cable access here.
Yeah.
Does,
We have cable, but I don't see it anymore. So I don't know if we get it anymore or not.
Well,
well, we
and
must,
cable access is never exactly the riveting thing that generally draws in a lot of people. So
yeah, it's usually-
I'm a little hesitant to, at least in theory, would say that the chainsaw one, if the school gets on board, that could actually have some viewership. Whereas, I mean, I do think we should pass over and contact the pianist, but I think even the cable access people coming to us and being like, yes, we've made arrangements. It still
Right.
won't exactly be the most thrilling use of our funds, but
No.
so I suppose in contacting them, we could indicate that they may wish to find a sponsor that is going to reach out to a larger group than the cable access.
Yeah,
That perhaps if the library or schools or or seniors or some actual organization or entity in town with other than cable access for it to join in their grant, that
does anyone in our group know anything about the cable access in town? Is it on all the time or is it just,
no idea.
I
it
don't know.
used to be, but like I can go commandeer the TV later tonight and look and see. I used to watch it because of school stuff that would be on, but I haven't seen it. Charter did some redo a while back and I haven't seen it since then. So I'll have to go through and see if we even have it. I don't even know if even with cable, if we even have it anymore.
I think there's something out there. I don't know what channel it is. It's a different channel than it used to be on. So I haven't seen it in a long time.
yeah, and how many people have it in town? I mean, actually, maybe
Yeah.
that we don't know about it.
Well, where Charter keeps raising their prices, everyone, I think, if they've got some better way of doing their what they would be using their TVs for, they're trying to find it.
So we have to find out about what our cable access, who it serves in town, what it has, and then we have to contact these people and say, you need to find a sponsor in our town.
Okay. So anyway, I moved that we pass over this grant until such time as they can be contacted and can evaluate at our next meeting.
Okay.
Okay. And the second,
This,
okay,
this,
Deborah, second.
this
Ah.
is for Greg.
Okay. So, so Deborah, yes on passing over? Yes on passing over?
Yep, and I'll check my TV later and send you guys all an email.
Okay, and Sandra, yes or
Yes.
no? Okay, and I or vote to pass over. Which brings us to World of Wonder.
I was fine with this one.
Me too.
And I was fine with it as well. I don't think there was.
Excuse me.
You okay, Sandra? You got a bad cold?
I'm choking on my water.
No,
Oh, no.
Terrible.
Well, make sure if you start choking too hard that you make some sort of different sound, so we know, because we've only got the sounds going to judge by. Okay. So since okay. Oh, does
I'll
that
move
count?
that we accept it.
Okay.
Second,
Okay. So Deborah, yes on or no on
yes.
yes or no?
Yep.
Sandra, yes or no?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Which brings us to the fox hunting.
And the blessing of the hounds.
Yeah.
And the $100 of water.
But they don't ask for it, though. When I first looked at that, they are gonna, the amount of money that they ask for doesn't include the water. I don't think, if you look,
Thought it did. Hang on. I mean, we have the money. I don't, and
Yep.
they're local. I don't really care,
Yeah,
although
the person behind
It's-
that grant reached out to our email, so I had talked with them when they were preparing the grant. So
can you tell us more about it then?
I think it. I mean it. I think that most of it is just kind of in the application that it
Okay.
something that I think they did. She said they had done something locally recently, and we're looking to hopefully
To get some reimbursement.
to be able to get funding for it this time, like that I think they had some point in the past year done a similar thing in town, that there was someone whose property they were able to use.
Right.
so in the grant, the rules of the grant, they can't use money for food or beverages.
Okay, I'm on theirs right now. I'm just looking.
At it carefully, we have to make sure that we're not.
Yes, the beverages are included in what they, oh,
They
I'm
have
just reading.
but
Okay,
not-
nope, they're just requesting for 500 from us, so we're okay.
And then the water was additional, but they never,
But they didn't include it in the request amount.
perfect.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're good.
Okay, so unless anyone has anything more to say or ask about it, I think I move that we accept this grant.
I'll
I'll-
second. Oh, sorry.
Okay, Deborah, yes or no? Yes or no?
Yep.
Sandra, yes or no?
It's a little bizarre, but okay.
Well, it oh,
We
and I vote in favor. I do it definitely is a little different, but I appreciate the fact that it is something that doesn't involve any harm coming to any animals. So I feel
The
a little
letter
more
was a little antagonistic. That was where I stumbled.
What?
The letter seemed a little antagonistic to me.
Oh, I didn't see that. There were letters at the end.
Well, just like the letter of, we've done this for everyone before and we didn't get paid, kind of. It just had like, I was like, okay, but
Well,
no, it's your hobby. So you obviously want to be doing this. So I have no problem paying them. We have the money and they are local, but
yeah,
Yeah.
our local,
I-
the history presentation, I guess, which we don't have any of in our panel here, so.
Okay, well, it should be interesting regardless. So, moving, we have the adult improv.
Yep.
And
I
That's
move,
fine.
we accept it.
I second. Okay, so, Deborah, yes or no?
Yes,
Yes, yes or no?
Yep.
Sandra, yes or no?
I'm gonna say yes. Now, is this, she's done this program before, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, so I hope we didn't cut off any questions or comments on it. Yeah, she's been running this for at least a couple of years now. I think she does it at 19 Carter, and it seems to go well. I haven't actually been there when she's done it, but I've been there like up until that point. Tends to do it on Fridays, and of course, before the fun of this past year, that was when I volunteered at 19 Carter, so I was often kind of leaving as they were coming in, and it seems to be well appreciated, and you know, she was so good about making sure she had run one more session this past year before asking for the money, even though I would have been happy enough to give it to her anyway for getting it 2/3 done. So I think she will ensure that we are, you know, getting the best service out of it.
no,
Uh,
good to know, tried and true.
yeah, and Evie, you know, included the letter, you know, in support of it, which certainly is, I think, positive. Anyways, moving on, the summer brass program, which hopefully by summer things will be less crazy.
I'm fine with it.
program last year, didn't they?
It did.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so surprised isn't it normally two grant requests we get? I mean, for,
We
Yeah.
didn't get one from Leslie Havens.
yeah,
Because hers is rolling over.
yes. That,
Hers- Yeah, so we have her money on hold from last year.
that
So
would be why. Okay. I move we approve this grant.
I'll second.
Okay. Deborah, yes or
I
no?
didn't want to talk over Sandra in case she wanted to.
Oh, come on, Sandra.
Jess, yes or no?
Yes.
Sandra, yes or no?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Yes. Don't be afraid to speak, Sandra. Speaking for myself, I have no trouble accidentally speaking over people, so feel free to like just run over me because I may need it.
It's all good, it's all good.
Okay, so that brings us to Seacoast Stompers, which was one of the senior programs.
Fine with me.
Good.
I'm good with it as well. Any thoughts, Sandra?
Oh, no, good with that.
Okay,
Sounds great.
okay. I move we accept this grant.
I'll second.
Okay, Deborah, yes or no?
Okay.
Yes or no?
Yep.
Sandra, yes or no?
Yes.
Did I freeze?
Somebody did.
Yeah. Yeah, we see you.
Okay, I'm
Oh, you're back.
back. So I didn't catch whether I got a yes or no from Sandra.
Yes.
Okay, and I vote yes. Really wish my internet would like my Zoom meetings better. I don't get, like, I can do World of Warcraft just fine, you know, all year round, no problems. I try to have a Zoom meeting and the connection likes to fart around. Okay, so that brings us to the Memory Lane.
Sounded fine to me.
Yep, I move we accept it.
Okay,
I'll second.
and I just realized now I didn't notice it before. We had a email from Karen 10 minutes after 7 that she was running late and
Okay.
would join as soon as she could. Which,
What'd you do, lock her out?
no, I guess she had been out and was just running late, but I only just noticed that I had the email from it, but anyways, so been distracted there. So we had a first and second. So Deborah, yes or no on this one? Hey, yes or no?
Yep.
Andrew, yes or no?
Yes.
And I vote yes. I suppose if we finish before Deborah popped on out, Deborah pops on. I'm confusing everyone's names tonight. I'm sorry. Karen pops on that I'll send her an email to let her know we moved faster. Okay, so that brings us to the Teddy Roosevelt one, which
I
was
move we accept it.
I second. Deborah is yay. Yes or no?
Yep.
Sandra, yes or no?
Yes, I'd like to see that one.
I'm interested in it too. And I vote yes as well, which brings us to 19 Carter.
Yes. I move we accept it.
Second,
Okay. Deborah, yes or no?
yes.
Yes or no?
Yep.
Sandra, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And I vote yes. That brings us to the last, and I think one of the more
I
interesting
have
ones.
questions.
Yes.
You too.
Okay.
Did Chief Galvin ask for this?
It just, it's a small
Ah,
girl. What?
I'm sorry, it sounds like an elementary or middle school type program. It doesn't, I don't get, I have trouble believing that
That the chief
that
says.
the chief asked for this. And he's asking a ton of other towns. So I have questions.
I'm curious when they mentioned the other towns being asked. I wonder whether whoever put it, whether that means that this particular program, like whether they're applying for other towns to do the same training for other towns. What, I don't think it's. I think it in words it's implying that they're asking other towns for the Berlin training, but I think it's meant to say that they're asking the other towns for similar training in the other towns.
Yes, but I'm questioning that they would all ask for this. Like,
Yeah.
I want to know if the police, if they want this for the town employees, fine. But if
Yeah.
this person wants money from us to then approach the town or just offer their video to the town.
I guess we need a little more feedback to say that,
Yes.
yes, the town is looking for diversity training of this type.
Yeah.
I just question,
Sound like
the-
she contacted him, but the way it's written about it, the way it's put in there, it doesn't really look like she has.
yeah,
Well, there's no letters.
Right, there's no support letter. It's
Right.
just, this is the contact person, which is very easy to have gone through the different town police departments and put the name of the chief.
right.
Mhm.
And I agree that it doesn't seem like like a real adult program with her showing up in a flight attendant suit.
I have trouble believing that this would be effective for, this doesn't seem like kind of effective, helpful training
And the
for
culture,
the
I-
adults.
like, it's when I started to read the countries that she's going to talk about the culture of it. To me, it's not the kind of diversity training that I think the police are going to be looking for. Ireland,
Does it have to do with hip hop? And
yeah,
why do they need hip hop? That, yeah, I have issues with this one. I'm
So
sorry.
just-
A little out there.
Yeah, no, it definitely, I mean, if the police want something and it's going to help them, I certainly do not want to stop the police from improving, but the methodology that does seem questionable.
Mhm.
yeah, it's questionable as to whether they were approached in
Right.
regards to this program.
So in this case, would we be more inclined to reach out to the police versus the applicant themselves?
Yes, I think we need to ask Chief Galvin if he was contacted by this person. And does he,
And if, oh, sorry.
and does
I'm
he,
sorry, Deborah.
okay, don't worry. I know we're all kind of on a delay.
Yeah.
I have no trouble emailing them and asking them.
Okay.
Okay.
And I would want to know, aside from just the person contacting him, is this what he wants? I mean,
Yeah.
if this is what he thinks is going to be helpful and effective, fine.
I think it will be in his answer of yes or no.
Yeah.
Did she contact you or did she not?
But
Yeah.
she may
If-
have contacted him. A yes, no might not be answering all of the questions.
Okay, I'll make him answer both questions.
Thank you.
If so, I think it's a case of if it's something the police want, we would be inclined to look at it favorably at our next meeting. If the police had not, let me rephrase that. If the police have not been contacted, if they're just shooting in the dark with this, would we then want to contact them, the
That's why
applicant,
I would,
and give them the chance, or if they haven't contacted the chief, would we want to just reject them at that point?
can't we ask the chief, let him know what the program is and ask if he wants it?
Yeah.
It may be more,
Or is that overstepping? Or,
first of all, ask if she contacted him.
yeah,
Let him know what the situation is. And then if he is interested, she should sell her program to
Yeah.
him.
no, that's true.
Yeah, it's not our job to do
Yeah.
that, I think. I think that we should let her know that she dropped the ball on the local sponsor.
Yeah.
And if she wants to talk to him and get a letter from him saying he supports and wants the program, then I don't want to put him on the spot though, but.
So should we just do that right from the get-go and not even reach out to Chief Galvin?
I would be in favor of us reaching out to him.
Okay.
I think given the particular nature of this one, that I would want to see that as kind of the starting point of how we proceed on
Okay.
this.
He would appreciate our sleuthing, I think.
Okay, so I
Start our own TV show, Cultural Council Mysteries.
Oh my.
I move that we pass over this one until we've had the opportunity to talk with the chief, and then if appropriate, talk to the applicant.
Sandra,
Yes.
are you seconding it?
Oh, I can second that.
Okay.
Yep.
So Deborah, yes or no on passing it over? Okay, Jess, yes or no on passing
Yep.
it over? Sandra, yes or no on passing it over?
That would be a yes.
And I vote we pass it over. So before we adjourn and schedule next meeting, I do want to mention that the town report is due on the 29th of this month, which I can remember very well because it's my birthday, so I don't have to think about what day it is. I was looking at what our previous town reports were because generally in the past years, Amanda has just done it. And looking at the past ones, it seems we pretty much follow a standard formula on that. So I, unless there are any objections when the time comes, I will just put that together. I don't think any of it will be interesting enough that it will necessitate, providing I mean, if timing is right, I would happily show it to everyone, but I don't think it's anything interesting enough we need to vote on or anything like that. The one thing that I did notice is because the timing is generally different in past years, that it always includes what we've awarded for money. So I may reach out. I believe Mary Arata is in charge of putting it together this year, so I may reach out to find out whether we how firm that due date is, because ideally it'd be nice if we can get all of our information actually in there. But I think we're also at a point, given the fact that there's not a lot well, given what things we passed over, we may have more money than what we want to give out. And everyone seemed to indicate they were good with my other potential meeting date, whether we might want to try to have our subsequent meeting 2 weeks from tonight, and might be able to, depending on how our contact efforts go, we might actually be able to just hammer everything out and get done this month.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I see that the way we've done this too is that there is a potential for us to do something with the Georgia O'Keeffe thing if it's something that Bob wants to sponsor through the probably through the Berlin money again.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't happen by the end of June, he has to understand that, we can try and fund him again through the Berlin money, but if situation continues to occur that they can't do a group like that, then he, I guess, needs to understand that money's not there after June 30th. Something to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on if we can continue to pass over, or I should say continue to pass it, if we reject one or more of these in the end, that I suppose is a possibility, though I would probably want to reach out to someone in the town, given the fact that we would be essentially granting an extension now in 2021 for a grant in 2020, that the money, it's still, the money might exist, but the path to that money is filled with a lot of debris that I would want a second opinion from
Absolutely, yeah.
from town accountant or town administrator, because I certainly want to promote the arts. I want people to get their money. I want all these things to happen, but he had a lot of time to straighten these things out. And, I'm looking at our email, every couple of days. I think I've spent a fair amount of time, back and forth certainly with Sarah Foster for those programs and such. So I
Okay.
don't see any reasonable reason why we have not heard from him in 4 months.
I think the starting point is to talk to Bob and see.
Yeah.
There's got to be some disconnect.
Yeah.
So my other question is, do you want me to take care of the, these other two? The cable access guy, find out about cable access in Berlin, and then the other is the chainsaw guy. Send him an email and say, you need a local sponsor before we can even consider the grant.
Yeah, if you don't mind doing that, I don't want to push the work off on you, but if you want to just take care of those, and I'll take
Okay.
care of following up with Bob as to how we want to proceed or not with Greg.
Okay, and we should have an answer by the time we meet again and know what to do.
Yeah, yeah. Ideally, and I mean, you can mention that we plan to meet again in a couple of weeks, so that you know, I I, I don't think we need, if said the chainsaw guy does contact a school and they're interested, an email from them expressing, I don't think we need more advanced paperwork than that, but I think we would need such efforts to occur promptly because I think it'd be fun if I could actually like have everything we're supposed to have in the town report. Like, you know, actual, I imagine, everyone would survive if it wasn't all in there, or if, it got a little late, but the idea of actually being able to do things on the schedule they're supposed to happen is bizarrely exciting.
Okay.
Okay, so we're all, and I
just
will
wanna
reach out
know,
to Karen, but we're all in theory good with meeting again, same time, 2 weeks from today, and figuring out the final grants, and
Yeah, what's the,
probably less about taking money away from them and more about how we're going to deal with money left over, but we will see. Okay, then I move that we adjourn the meeting.
okay, what's the date of the next meeting? The 21st?
22nd.
Second, okay. Okay,
I just
I'll
wanna know
second.
who's talking to the chief.
I'll email the chief
Okay,
or I'll call him if it's so crazy down there. I don't know if you can you can't ever talk to anybody down
I know, it's crazy.
there.
Well, you have our chief up, so you could actually go to the building.
Oh, I can go to the building, but then I have to you get into the station, and sometimes
Okay, Karen's coming. Hold on, before we
what Karen's here?
require.
You okay?
Muted. Oh, no, she's not. Okay.
Okay, I'm back. I'm going, ugh. Did you get my email?
I did, though. I'm afraid I didn't see it until about 20
Oh, no.
minutes ago.
I was running late. We were bringing food to my mother in Marlboro. And then we had to kind of wait for her to be done with dinner and get to the place where she could let us in. It was kind of a fiasco, but sorry.
I'm afraid we were just about to adjourn, but before we do, just to catch you up a bit, we ended up approving all but 3 of the grants. There are 3 that we had additional questions on. The chainsaw one, the dueling pianists, and they did not have any local sponsor for them, so Deborah will be reaching out to those to see if they have or can contact. The chainsaw one essentially needs to get the school to back that one, and
Okay.
we're concerned with the pianist one that was talking about being on the cable access, but we're really not sure how many people even see that or whether the cable access channel knew that these people were, planning on that. So
Mhm.
Deborah will be contacting them, and the police diversity training one, we're again questioning whether the police were ever contacted about doing that and whether they want that. So
Mhm.
those three we have passed over in to see if those can the additional information can come up, and we are looking to meet again 2 weeks from today if everyone's on board with that, so we can we have $6,400 and only $69.35 has been asked for. So if we end up rejecting any of these, they'll, rather than having to take away money, it looked like what we might have extra money to give out. Basically hoping to make final decisions on these other three grants at the next meeting and then figure out the money.
Okay. When I tried to get into the paddle books, and into the site, they said my password was wrong. So I'm gonna have to follow up in the next couple of weeks to figure out how to renew my password or something.
Is it possible you were using an old password?
I mean, what was in there was old, and I have to go back to find out what the newer one might be.
It's in an email.
I'll shoot
Yeah.
you an email
Okay.
after we're done here. So
Okay.
so I guess return to
Yeah.
okay, so we are adjourning until 2 weeks from today. So
Okay.
I move again that we adjourn for tonight.
Okay. Yep. Second,
Okay.
third.
Okay, so Deborah, yes or no to adjourning?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yep.
Sandra, yes or no?
Yes, please.
And Karen, yes or
Yep.
no?
Yes.
Okay, I also vote that we adjourn. Thank you everyone for coming on your Friday night, and I will see you
Yes,
all in 2 weeks.
Be safe out there. COVID is starting to ramp up in Berlin.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Was wondering about that.
My
Yeah.
people across the street from me just tested positive this week.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
They're okay. They have
Good.
mild symptoms, but two of them, there's a family of 5. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yep, it's out there.
Yeah.
Careful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, be safe, be well.
You too.
I declare
And
this
Happy
meeting
New
adjourned.
Year.